And hello and welcome to another edition of Talking Golf with Gary. Hope everybody had a great week out there, and I did. Weather's getting a little bit warmer here in the Northeast, but then we had some chilly days, and rainy and windy, so couldn't really get out to the golf course. I did get out to the putting green a little bit and do a little putting practice, but it's still pretty bad, folks. I gotta admit it. I ain't lying. It's pretty bad. But lots of great action this weekend. I hope you caught some of it on the television. And let's check out some of the winners. John Rahm and Ryan Palmer took home the trophies for the Zurich Classic of New Orleans. Ryan Palmer really did need a win. He's been struggling for a while. And this was a fairly big tournament. I mean, it is a team event, but you do get each individual gets 400 FedEx Cup points. They each get exemptions. They each get invites to to the majors, to certain majors. So it's really a big thing. So a big boost to anybody that wins. So congratulations to those two guys. And especially Ryan Palmer, who really needed to pump some life back into his game, and he played well this week. Okay, over in the Champions Tour, another senior event, and this was terrific. The Bass Pro Shops Legends of Golf at Big Cedar Lodge. It was terrific because of the scenery. Oh my goodness, that Big Cedar Lodge, that whole resort there. And the golf course that they played on the final round was just magnificent. All of the golf courses, they played at a couple of different ones. It's one of those events where they play at different courses. All of them were just plain gorgeous. One was like an island green. They had to take a boat out to it. Really a cool concept. I think it was the 15th hole. I forget which course it was, but really neat. And they even interviewed last year's champions Broadhurst and Triplett on the way to the island at one of the rounds. But really a terrific viewing experience as far as the whole course was just gorgeous. And Scott Hoke and Tom Pernice Jr. won that one in a wire-to-wire win. They had grabbed the lead on the first day and held on to it. And in fact, they even opened up the final round with a hole-in-one. Tom Pernice Jr. hit a hole-in-one on the first hole of the final round. So congratulations to Scott Hoke, who hadn't won in quite some time. Had a lot of injuries, and Tom Pernice Jr. as they win the Bass Pro Shop Legends of Golf at Big Cedar Lodge tournament. In the European Tour, Jorge Campillo won the Trophy Hassan II in his first European Tour win. So congratulations to Jorge grabbing his first win on the European Tour. And he's been playing well lately. Had some seconds and thirds, but finally was able to break through, handle the pressure, and keep the lead down the stretch and take home the trophy at the Trophy Hassan II in Morocco. So congratulations to Jorge. And over on the LPGA Tour, it was Minjee Lee, and she took home the title at the Ugal Air Premier LA Open. So congratulations to Minjee Lee on winning that title. Got a terrific guest for you tonight. Interesting. Something similar to what we had a couple of weeks ago, but a little bit different. The golf subscription services. We're going to talk about another one this week, and this one's a little different, though. So very interesting. So that'll be back, and I'll be back with that interview right after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and baseballtalkradio.com.
And joining me this week is Mr. Drew Amato. He is one of the co-founders of the Mully Box. And Drew, welcome to Talking Golf with Gary. And can you tell us a little bit about what the Mully Box is?
Yeah, Gary, thanks for having me on. So, short summary, Mully Box is a subscription box. Basically, every month we'll send you a new box of golf gear. And the idea is that over the course of your subscription, Mully Box will help improve your golf game. So we always send golf balls and tees just to replenish your essentials. And then on top of that, we kind of scavenge the market, which is, as you're probably familiar, very saturated with golf gear and, gizmos and training aids. So we've got a product team and, some advisors, and we try to, piece together a box each month that helps a different aspect of your game. So, for example, this month we're sending a putting box. In the past, we've sent a fitness box, or when it was cold, I'm sure where you are as well, we sent a winter range session box, which had range session training aids. So so the idea is that over the course of the subscription, we want to help make golfers feel like they're getting better at the game of golf.
Well, you were kind enough to send me a Mully Box, and here it is right here, and we're going to open it and see exactly what is in this month's box. And as you said, this is a putting theme this month.
Correct.
And so let's take a look and see. And first off, we've got this is an interesting little product here, because this is not something you expect to see in a golf box. But I do understand what the point is. But it is marking chalk, and also in the box is a chalk line reel. Now, for those that do not do their own how-to projects, this is if you want to make a straight line to put really anything, shingles, windows, any concrete, anything at all. You can. This is what builders use, and of course the chalk you've supplied to refill this. And this is definitely. I just took it out of the box, but it is out of the box thinking. And I understand where you're going with this, but maybe you could explain it to some of the people at home.
Sure. Yeah, it's a really simple training aid. However, probably one of the most effective training aids when it comes to putting. Mm-hmm. We've got on our team, we have two guys who both played college golf. Both are trying to pursue, professionally, and they both said, well, one of them uses a beeline putter, which is essentially the same thing where you stick a string over the top, mm-hmm. and the other guy uses the chalk line.
Okay.
The beeline happened to be a little bit too long to fit in, but since it was the same thing, what all you do is you basically find a flat putt, you use the line to mark a straight line, and just roll 100 putts down the line. And you'll be surprised to know, especially a lot of our golfers, whether you're a great golfer or an amateur, you'll be surprised to see that your alignment is not always, dead exactly where you want it to be. So just by rolling straight down a line, as many times as you can, you'll really start to get a feel for what a straight putt should look like, and kind of how that syncs up with your muscle memory and the way you line up your putts. So, that was kind of an easy pick for us. I know it's a little bit outside the box, but the way that we go about things, like I mentioned, we have different themes.
Right.
We said, all right, we want to do a putting box this month, and there's two things that we think are really important in putting. There's alignment and speed, distance control. So, with that, we've got the alignment, and I'll let you pull out some other items if you want.
Okay. Well, just to get back to this. Also, you can use this to help with your alignment off the tee. I would, you could set up a line to your target zone and chalk it, and then get lined up, so it can help with your alignment off the tee as well as with the putting. So just to throw that out there.
Yeah, or help with your house projects.
Well, yeah. If worst comes to worst, you can do that. Well, let's stick with the putting theme, and we have here the Putt Right Speed Trainer, and perhaps you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is a speed training aid that essentially forces you. It basically you put it in a hole in which you're practicing, and it takes the depth and the circumference out of the hole. So what you're kind of left with is you have to hit a putt at the perfect speed to hole it in the Putt Right Speed Trainer.
Okay.
So again, as you're practicing and you start to realize, hey, I can't hammer this one by, and kind of take the break out of it, this helps you start to get the feel for the right speed and curvature. So you can do a bunch of different drills with that. And actually on their website, they have a few different, different drills you can try. One I like to do is say your hole, is here, and the putt breaks around, is you put a tee at the point where if you hit a perfect speed, it has to go around and drop in. So if you actually start to get, the feel for the perfect speed and break, again, this is going to help you kind of avoid, free putting, but also hole more, because when you hit the right speed, the circumference of the hole actually expands.
And this is what it looks like. And it comes with this crooked tee here, and that's the tee you were talking about.
Yeah, well, that's actually to get it out of the hole, because when it gets down in the hole, it gets hard to pull out. But yeah, you could use. I would recommend just using a normal tee.
And comes in a nice carrying case, and this is something that I will be taking to the putting green. I have a putting green that I can use for free because it's a public course, but they have a nice putting green that you can use there. So this will come in very handy. And the way I putted last week, I certainly could use that aid with it.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to share my screen with you on accident here. Okay, we're good. Yeah, and one thing, I'm a 12 handicap golfer myself. Are we frozen?
I don't think so. No,
sorry.
We're good.
Yeah, I'm a 12 handicap golfer myself, and my goal is to, eventually become a single-digit handicap. And, having my buddies who are great at golf telling me how they practice, and then getting these products, I've actually, one of my biggest issues was putting. And since I've used some of these drills, I've noticed a huge change in putting. It's just a matter of practicing and getting out there. And hopefully Mully Box can be a reminder. Another thing I want to add to that is the putting training aid alone, it retails for $29.95. And one of our big value propositions, aside from helping your game, is that we can help you save on some of these products too. A lot of these people like Putt Right, this helps with exposure for them, and so we go out and we find good products and we get them at a discount for you guys. So that alone is the cost of the box is $29 alone, and then you got all these other items in there. So I just wanted to throw that out.
Well, we have a couple of more items here, and one thing I'm excited about is I've got two sleeves here of the Avant 55 golf ball from OnCore, and it just so happens that I had Brett Blakely on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Talking about the Avant and the Elixir. Elixir?
Yes.
Yeah. And I did try a sleeve of these recently, and I really liked the ball. Unfortunately, my shots had a magnetism to the water holes, and I lost the sleeve of balls hitting them into the water. But I did like the feel of them, and that's what I base it on because I'm too high a handicap to worry about how they land. I go a lot by feel and how they feel coming off the putter and the driver and such. And I really did like these balls, so I'm so happy to get those again and test them a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And we got some tees here long tees and with a I don't know how you describe the tops on those with
Yeah, they
your
call them.
logo.
It's a 5-star pattern, so it limits the friction on the top.
And they look very interesting, and of course they're branded with your the Mully Box, and really some really cool stuff in here. And I can't wait to get out and try some of this stuff. To be honest.
Great. Yeah, that's the hope. On top of helping you play better, it's like a nice little Christmas present almost every month to open up, and you got your golf gear. It gets you excited to go back out on the course and try it all out. So I'm glad to hear that.
So, how did you get started in this? We know we've had one of your competitors on, though you have a different niche than some of the other boxes. One of your competitors, or two of your competitors, really are more interested or deal more with fashion. You're
Yeah.
dealing more with accessories and training aids and that sort of thing. But tell us a little bit how you got started with this business and what went into all of that.
Sure. So I guess I could take you back. It was about a year and a half ago when I actually am very close now to finishing an MBA program at Michigan. And when I got into school, I'd always been entrepreneurial, and I said, if I'm going to start a business, now would be a good time. While I'm in school to kind of work on a little side project and see what I can do with it. And a year and a half ago, I noticed all these subscription boxes coming out, and it seemed like, the big value proposition for a subscription box is that it replenishes things for you, so you don't have to go out and get them, things that you use up,
Right.
let's say. And as a golfer, an avid golfer, and, more than I would like to admit, I run out of golf balls. So I had this idea. I went literally that day I came home from the course. I made a website, made a Facebook ad, and had a golf subscription box that was called like IGC box at the time. And I didn't have any product. I just wanted to see if it would, there were people that would click through to the site. Well, it turned out I got an order without any product. Imagine that. So, I rush shipped boxes in, I rush shipped the golf balls in. I had a line that it wouldn't, ship for 30 days. Mm-hmm. So, this is a very beta mode, just kind of minimum viable product as they call it. So I met my co-founder in Chicago. Met him, I guess we're college buddies, so I went out to visit him. I told him about what I was doing, and he was like, he's a big golfer, entrepreneurial himself. He was like, I want to get involved. So he invested with me, and he and I just kind of pounded the pavement, and really our initial goal was to identify what customers want. I didn't want to go to the clothing space because there's a lot of companies that are doing it well, but personally, I just wasn't as passionate about that. I was more interested in the game improvement side. Mm-hmm. So I ended up launching, on the website, you had balls and tees only, and then you had, it was actually IGC box plus, call it, and in the plus box, it was like you got rotating gifts, and I found out that like 99% of the people almost were signing up for this other box. And I was like, wow, there might be something there that people want more than just, Dollar Shave Club type business. Maybe they want a Birchbox type deal where you get the whole, suite of products to try.
Right.
And so over the course of time, the old brand was kind of bland. No one knew what IGC meant. The packaging wasn't great. We just kind of, we're more, the way we operate and have operated was more like, ready, shoot, aim. It was like we would go out, see what worked, and then adjust.
Right.
And now we've kind of ended up with a product that we feel the brand is strong, that customers like, that's actually doing something. We've really identified the game improvement side, and are working, like I mentioned, with the two guys on our team, but other advisors as well. So it's been working out nicely, and we hope to keep revamping the product as we go forward.
where did the name Mully Box come from?
So we noticed and kind of wanted to gear towards this next wave of golfers, like the Ricky Fowler and George Spieth spring break crew type golfer, that likes to listen to music and, plays a little socially. They drink on the course and they really enjoy the game, the social aspect of the game. And I was reading a National Golf Foundation article that called them the breakfast ballers. So as I'm thinking of how to brand this, I had IGC. I wanted something that was a little more appealing and interesting, and breakfast ball is like a mulligan, and I always, as my slang is, I want to take a mully. So that's where we ended up with Mully Box, and we thought purple was a pretty interesting color, a deep purple where it's not too, one gender or another.
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty much where we tested some other names, and we also sent logos and names around, and everyone, almost everyone, liked Mully Box the most. So that's how we got there.
Yeah, I think it's a good name. It's different. It separates you from other the other subscription services, and the color's a terrific color. Like you said, it's very non-gender neutral, or however you want to word it.
Yeah.
So now, how did you approach these the companies and get started with them? Because usually, when you go to a company, they want you to order big quantities and stuff. And starting off, I imagine you didn't have the cash for that. So how did that work starting off?
Starting off was difficult. We did a lot of grassroots stuff. Early on, I actually, through a connection, was able to get a booth at the Michigan Golf Show. In order to do that, I had to work like 2 nights in a row, moving all the vendors in. But as a trade-off, I was able to meet all the vendors as they were coming in. So, just kind of networking through trade shows, things like that. We told them what we were doing, and we're like, hey, we only need to order about 50 to 100 items, but, is there any way, you could help us out? Because that's 50 to 100 new golfers that'll get your product. And most of them are interested in it. They thought it was cool, and, they were willing to help us out. But, as you mentioned, sometimes quantity is an issue, so we ended up buying probably way more stuff than we actually needed. And what we did a few times was we offered Mully Box, your first box, for just $1. And so we got to get a bunch of people to sign up. Mm-hmm. That kind of helped us get rid of some of the inventory, and hopefully if it was good enough, they would stay on. And, sometimes we weren't perfect, and the box wasn't great, and people would cancel, but we're in a spot where less and less people are canceling every month, because now we're able to, plan out months in advance, and we've networked with so many manufacturers. Like we're close with Callaway and OnCore. As you had them on the show, I mean, OnCore is willing to work with us every month if we so choose. Same with Callaway. So, we have now contacts where we're able to, utilize on a frequent basis. But early on, it was a struggle. And, sometimes we would have to just, go to the local golf store by my house and just buy a bunch of stuff and send it out. So it was interesting early on.
So did it help at all, though, that there are other subscription services, so they had an idea of what you were trying to do already out there? Like you say, the Dollar Shave Club and stuff along that line.
Yeah, and there are other golf subscription boxes. So some of the bigger companies, I believe OnCore mentioned the same thing to us, and Callaway is they have actually had, and Linksole is another company we've worked with, a bigger company, and they have worked with some of the other subscription boxes. So they are familiar going in what we are, and they understand, why it makes sense to get into a subscription box. Basically, it's an easy way, and this is what they'll tell you is, if they're launching a new product or we have a market that they don't have a lot of exposure in, it's an easy way to just drop it in and get your product in the hands of hundreds or thousands of golfers, just to test it out. And hopefully if your product's good, then they'll come back.
Right.
So yeah, it's helped that they have that experience, but they always ask, what makes you different? Why should we work with you? And where they are pretty excited to hear is that we focus on, the betterment of golf. And not a lot of other subscription boxes. Actually, I don't really know of any that are kind of going for that side of it. I know it's a difficult task, but I feel like we're up for it, and that's what we truly align with. So,
well, it's great that you have your own little niche in the subscription box, the golf subscription box market, and that's a good thing to capitalize on. Do you see this as the future of retail? Is the subscription type thing, or is it just something that's going to be added into the whole retail scene?
well, I'm hoping obviously it's not a fad, but it's 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 a growing market. There's some studies out there that I've seen. McKinsey put out a study recently about the subscription box space and how more and more customers are actually going to the subscription model because it's just easier. You can notice Amazon has a lot of options now to subscribe and save. So if customers find out, or realize, for me, example, I drink espresso every morning, and I can't just go into a grocery store. At least I probably can, some of them, but I have a specific type of espresso pod I like to get. And so it's just easier to get that sent to me every month. I know I consume it every month. So, I think for certain products, customers do enjoy the subscription model more. The three biggest things are replenishment of essentials. They like the surprise element, and they also like the curation. So like if they can trust that you're a company that can curate the best products better than they might be able to, that's why the clothing companies are very good. A lot of people don't trust their own style.
Right.
That's where the value is. And I do think if there's value, generally speaking, that means it should remain, and I don't think it will necessarily replace a lot of retail options, but I do think it will become a new model that will stay.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see where you'll always need the old brick and mortar retail stores and stuff, because sometimes you just need something quickly. But you make a good point with Amazon doing it now with the their 2-day shipping, and then I think people, as you say, people like to get stuff in the mail. They like to get boxes. They like to get that surprise. You said it earlier. It's like Christmas every month or something,
Yeah.
And I think it's great that, especially if you send different golf balls along the way, people. Not everybody wants to spend $50 on a box of Pro V1s or Callaway whatever Chrome Softs, but if you get a sleeve in a box like this, it's great, because then you can get to try it without because it's hard to get sleeves sometimes. You just can't buy them all the time. Sometimes you can. But to get it this way, I think, and to get a little bit extra with it, with the tees and everything, is a terrific idea.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to never kind of have to worry when I'm going golfing if I have my balls and tees. It's like I know now every time I'm going golfing, I've got everything I need. That's nice.
And then you got into the branding of your own the golf tees with your own tees and everything, and that's pretty cool. So
Yep.
people can use that as advertising on the golf course. So what's coming? What do you have planned for the next few months? If you can give us a little tease
Sure.
about what we may be seeing.
I don't want to give too much away to ruin the surprise
That's
element, but I'll
understandable.
tell you the two themes. How about that?
Okay, that's great.
So the next month's theme will be a bunker box. So
Ooh.
things to help with, as you can imagine, out of the sand and around the green. And then the month after that is actually a USA themed box going into the 4th of July.
Okay. All
So,
right.
yeah, so that's what we have coming up. Kind of long term, though, I would add our goal is eventually to give customers more options. You mentioned, Pro V1s. There's certain products that at our price point of $29, we obviously couldn't,
Yeah.
do. So it's our goal. And I would urge you, if you're listening, to maybe join the email list and see when we come out with this stuff. But we'd like to have more, options like a premium box or a balls only box, and you can choose the balls. We want to get a little bit more creative. Right now, it's a one size fits all type deal, which is it serves its purpose. But there's certain customers out there that we think might be a little picky that we want. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. But that we do want to service as well. So going forward, you might see some more options from us.
Well, that's the way to do it. You start, we keep talking about Dollar Shave Club, but they started with essentially razor blades and a handle, and now
Yep.
they're into all kinds of different, face products
The whole
and
bathroom.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's you build on it as you go along, and hopefully you'll be around a very long time. And the Mully Box, I think everybody should consider at least signing up for it. Try it once, and see. I think you'll continue on with it once you try it out. So, Drew, I want to thank you for taking the time today, and I'm so glad we could get together and do this. And thank you for the box, and we'll have to do it again sometime down the road.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much for having me on, Gary. And can I give a little discount code to your listeners if they want?
Sure, that'll be great.
Okay, I just thought of this idea. You mentioned try it
Okay.
out. If you want to try it out and you're listening, we'll make the code Gary30. So Gary 30, and that'll get you 30% off your first box. And I recommend trying it out, for a couple months and seeing what you think. And Gary, again, I appreciate you having me on. This has been great, and yeah, I look forward to doing it again.
Okay, my pleasure, and I'll be back right after this.
Okay.
Sponsor an ad on the podcast. Support our show and let people know about your business. Email us today.
516-362-0443. That is the Talking Golf Hotline. If you've got a question, a comment, or want to leave a voicemail, say hi. That's the number to call, 516-362-0443. Or if you'd like to leave an email, you can email the show at talkinggolf@gmail.com.
Now it's time to do the calendar. Now it's time to do the calendar. Oh, hooray, let's sing the calendar. Now it's time to do the calendar.
Yay! It's time to do the calendar for, excuse me, for this upcoming week. On the PGA Tour, we have the Wells Fargo Championship. Jason Day is the defending champion. He'll be there in all his glory, defending his title at the Wells Fargo Championship. And on the Champions Tour, it is the Insperity Invitational And Bernhard Langer, the unbelievable Bernhard Langer, is the defending champion, I should say, of that event. On the European tour, it's the Globe Hoppers continue to travel as they go to China to play the Volvo China Open. Alexander Bjork will be defending his title at that event. And at the LPGA Tour, the ladies, they're in action. They'll be playing the LPGA Mediheal Championship. And Lydia Ko is the defending champion. She won that event last year. So that's the calendar for this upcoming week. I can't even talk. I don't know what it is. That's the calendar on the upcoming week of action and terrific events. So check them out if you can on Golf Channel and on CBS or NBC, whichever they're on. I think they're on CBS still. Just want to mention OnCore Golf again. Terrific golf balls. I have used these balls a couple of times. When I do a review, and I don't do a review too often, but when I do a review, I don't have all the machines and the TrackMan and all this launch angles and all of that. I measure distance. I go by feel, folks. I'm just a hacker, so I go by feel. What I know about the OnCore golf ball, the Avanti 55, is that I like it. I like the way it comes off the head of the driver. I like the way it comes off the head of the putter. It's a nice soft feel. I like the way that feels. The distance is as good, or if not better, than my Callaways that I was playing. And I've tried a couple of different Callaways as I see them in the cheap bins. Try different versions, different models of the Callaway ball. I've also played some Titleist, the DT Soft, and the Pro V1s, and these Avantis are right up there with them. I'd like to try the Elixir, but we'll have to see. But I do recommend them. They are a nice golf ball at a reasonable price. They're soft. They're fairly good on the greens, I thought, but I'm not hitting shots in that are, I don't get a lot of spin going into a green in the first place, so I'm not the best judge of that. But I can tell you, for me, these balls were beautiful. The only thing I had a problem with was my swing is a magnet to water, so unfortunately the balls don't float. And I did hit a sleeve of them into the balls, as I've mentioned before in the show. But they're worth the try. Go to OnCoreGolf.com and give them a try. And we're going to have some other ball manufacturers on. So in the future, within the next couple of weeks, as a matter of fact. So we'll be talking more about golf balls and about specifically not the big names, but other brand names that are a little cheaper and very, very, very high quality. And congratulations to OnCore Golf. Gary Player just signed with them, so he'll be a spokesman for them, or a representative, ambassador, or whatever. I'm always open to be an ambassador or a sponsor for anybody that would like to take me on. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed my special guest, Drew Amato. I know I did, and Drew, thanks so much for coming on once again. And I want to thank you all for listening. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, Spreaker, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you listen or watch the podcast. Hit the subscribe button. That helps me grow the show and expand to new listeners. And until next time, remember, as you walk down the fairway of life, you must smell the roses, for you only get to play one round. Have a great week. I'll see you all again next time on another edition of Talking Golf with